Happy Monday, Inspire Beauty. I am super pumped. I'm not going to talk very long because we have a guest speaker tonight. She is literally a resident guest speaker because she's one of our own. Kristen's going to be taking the mic tonight. A little story, you guys. If you were on Saturdays, first of all, let's just give it up for Saturday's Super Saturday event. If that was like the first time you've ever done a Super Saturday, hopefully that gives you a taste of just like what kind of energy comes out of these events. It's electric. And imagine actually being face-to-face, like really live with it. Oh my gosh, they're so good. So hopefully if you've never been to a live event, when we do finally get to have live events, I hope that that is on your radar. Don't forget, you guys, that not this weekend coming up, but next weekend, we've all registered for the Rise, the virtual Rise event. So if you want another little dose of awesomeness on a Saturday, join us for that. I believe the cheap ticket is $40, and it's an all-day virtual event that the Hollis Co. is running. It's going to be filled with awesome speakers that are going to fill you up, but also fill you up to move forward in your business and your goals and all the things. Kristen here, who's about to take over tonight, she shared with us on Saturday a little bit. She got to share alongside Amanda. They were awesome, you guys. I hope that also lit a fire in you. But she got to share a little bit of her backstory of how she got started and just like what this journey has looked like for her. And I think one of the best parts sometimes about the job that I get to do and the role that I get to play is I get the privilege of seeing somebody go from where they told me they were when they began, like, you know, I don't want to sell anything. I want to do this thing, to watch them blossom into literally an incredible leader on our team that sets the pace for all of our incoming coaches. It's mind-blowing. And so it takes time, and it takes trusting the process. It takes, a lot of setbacks sometimes, but I'm just so grateful to be here, like seeing Kristen coming all the way from the beginning of her journey to this moment right now. And so I'm just like a proud freaking mama bear right now. I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to let her unmute. She's talking all about comparison tonight, you guys. I got my pen out and my notebook ready. I hope you do too. Lean in, get your posture right, like just get excited because she's going to be bringing it tonight. Kristen, I'm muting myself, girl. It's all you.
All right. Hi, you guys. I'm so excited to be talking with you tonight. I'm like a little nervous, so bear with me, but I'm super excited to share with you guys this topic tonight because it's been something near and dear to my heart these last few weeks, and I'm sure you guys have felt it too with all like the uncertainty that's going on right now. So I have definitely felt myself comparing a lot, and I thought when Brittany asked me to speak like a month ago, I was like, my wheels were turning, what am I going to talk about, right? And we talked like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I just don't know, like, I don't think I got anything to share. This is what's going on. She's like, well, then you need to talk about it. And that's so true. Like when we have something on our heart, whatever it may be, we just need to talk about it, right? Whether it's just to one person or if it's to our team or whatever aspect, avenue that is for you, you just need to get it out to somebody. So I'm super excited to share with you guys this tonight. Let me just share my screen with you. I'm gonna move you guys over here. Okay, all right. So let's dive in so that we can compare no more, you guys. So first of all, I just want to talk first, what is the definition of comparison? Comparison is the act or that process of comparing. So we might have like said object and we're comparing it to the same thing, right? Maybe we're looking at buying something and we're just comparing the price of it, right? Or maybe we're looking at a couple of different things. Maybe we're looking at something to make our shakes in. So we're looking at a couple of different blenders and what do each of them have and what are the features that I'm looking for, right? So those are just a couple of ways that we might think that we compare, but there's so many more, you guys, and I'm sure that you can maybe you're only thinking that there's negative ways that we compare, but there are some positive ways. So let's dig in a little bit more first into what comparison actually is. Comparison, you guys, is actually, it steals the joy out of everything. So when we start to compare, we set out, maybe you're setting out to do your power hour, right? And you have your vision of what you're going to accomplish in that hour. But then you get sidetracked and you find yourself comparing. And then it just takes the joy out of what you set out to do for that hour, right? You don't feel like inviting. You don't feel like working on that challenge group. You don't feel like working on the graphics or whatever it may be. You lose that joy. It also wastes valuable energy. So when we start to compare, and I might be scrolling on Instagram, right? And I've just like looked up at the clock and 20 minutes is gone. And what did I do? What did I accomplish in that 20 minutes? Not a whole heck of a lot, but probably feeling a lot less about myself, right? It distracts us. Again, it was a couple weeks ago when we went through our Q1 goals, right? Brittany did that call with us and had us get out our goals for 2020. And we all looked and were like, what happened in these 3 months, right? Maybe you were close to your goals. Maybe you were just a little off. Maybe you were way off the road in those trees that she showed us on that roadmap, right? Because we get distracted. In whatever way that we compare, it's going to distract you. You're going to lose sight of why you were on the road to what you were after, and then you get lost in the trees. And sometimes we get stuck there for a really long time until we realize that, right? Comparison also creates jealousy, you guys. And when we look at jealousy, we find division. We find that maybe we were just misunderstood or we misunderstood somebody else. And then we isolate. And that's probably like one of the worst things that can happen out of comparison is that isolating feeling, because you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want anybody to know what you're going through or what you're thinking, because you think it's really bad thoughts like, oh my God, I can't believe I compared myself to this, or this is what I'm thinking and I am such a mean girl right now, right? And you don't want to share that with somebody, but then you just let it sit and you let it sulk in yourself. And then that will weigh you down, and it's just going to keep piling on top until you let it out and you figure out how to get unstuck from that. It also, in the end, takes us nowhere. Like when you look at this, when you get distracted, what does jealousy do for you? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything good for you. All that time that you wasted that you could have been working towards those goals, but then you sat there for 20 minutes or however long it might have been comparing, it took you nowhere, right? So the danger in constantly comparing our everyday reality, you guys, with the ideas or maybe these expectations that we have, because our real life experiences don't add up to those expectations. So we might have, we were all so excited for this super weekend, because I know I was excited because Joel Freeman was going to be in Milwaukee, you guys. And I was like, I am going. I got my VIP ticket. This is going to be awesome. And then COVID happened, right? So like that expectation that I had of like seeing Joel and like working out with him in person, like that just got washed away, right? So that expectation that I had then didn't live up to that real experience. But you know what I can tell you is that this past weekend, like Brittany said, was like the most amazing virtual event that I feel like I have been to. Like, hands down. I think that we made it so awesome. She incorporated so many good things to make us feel connected that it felt like it was a live event. So it's really just those expectations, and the higher the expectation you have, and no matter what it is, like one thing that I've told Brittany before is like, I expect, like if I'm going to share something with my family, I expect them to respond to me in a certain way. And I can guarantee you, I never get that experience. Never, except for my sister. My sister and I are on the same page. But like when I talk to my mom or my dad, that expectation that I'm like, oh, this time, they're gonna be so excited. And they're just not. And I walk out of that house feeling defeated, right? And then that just gets you to spiral. And that's no good. So our expectations are huge. Like that is something that you just need to be mindful of and make sure that you are ready to accept what happens and learn from it and grow from it and move forward. So let's talk a little bit more about these positive and negative ways that I think that we compare. And if you guys have other ideas, like I would love for this to be kind of like a sharing opportunity, or you're in the chat. If you guys have something that you want to share with us and like get off your chest to us. So while we're on this road, let's just keep talking about the negative things here for a few minutes. So some ways are that we compare our looks or our success or maybe our status. So that might look like, well, I can't have what she has because I don't look like her, like I don't have her body. Or if I just had the job that she had, I'd be happy, right? Or maybe once I hit this rank, then I'll like really know how to work the business and like be inspired, right? So those are some ways that the looks and success and that status can really get to us. Our own expectations, again, like I just kind of talked a little bit about. But another way to look at that is like maybe you have an expectation of like by the age of this, I am going to have a family, I'm going to have my kids, I'm going to be established in my career, I'm going to have it all figured out. And I'm here to like just tell you guys, like I don't think we ever have it all figured out. I don't think we do. But that's another way to look at our expectations. Another way is, you guys, we compare our own issues. And when I saw this, I was like, that's so crazy, but we so do that. So like, I could compare, I've been divorced. I could compare my divorce to somebody else's divorce. Like, why would I do that? Like, that was a painful time. Like, most issues that we have, right, they're gonna be painful things, whether maybe it's like a breakup or you lost a job, or now you're having to change your ideals around to go around what's like going on in this world. Like, why would we compare our issues? That just seems to like negate itself, right? So lots of negativity that can stem from that. But let's talk a little bit about the positive ways, because you guys, there are positive ways that we can compare. And one way, I think it was last week that Brittany and I shared on our one-on-one, that we sat and looked at actually how much I have grown in my business from just 2 years ago when, you guys, I wasn't even really working the business. I had Ashley. Like, Ashley got into 80-day with me. She was my one person. So I wasn't working the business till last year, when I technically had just started working the business for 3 months, to now being 1.5 years into my business. And the growth that I saw, you guys, that we looked at and saw, was amazing. And that in and of itself can be inspiring to you. Like, I walked away from that being very inspired last week. So that's one way that we can compare. There's a couple of other ways. So a lot of it is tracking, right? So we have our business tracker that we can track a lot of things on. We can track our activity. We can track, our followers. We could look back and see how many times we worked out, how often we were drinking our Shakeology. You can have your food diary. You know what? A lot of these programs that we do, they come with that journal, right? So maybe you look at a journal from a program you did last year at this time, like T20, compared to how you're eating now. And you might see that, oh my God, like I hated vegetables, and now I'm like, this is one of my favorite recipes, So there's so many ways that you can positively compare and actually inspire yourself, then kind of like degrade yourself, right? And get into that spiral of the comparison. So I can't see if there's anything in the chat. Let me pull that up for a second. I just want to see if anybody like shared anything that they want to talk about. Okay. Yes, Leah, your weight tracker from Lyft. Yeah, that's awesome. See, like that's such a positive way that you can look at where you've come from when you did that program. Like that's awesome. That's a great positive way. All right, I didn't see too many others. So we'll just keep kind of tracking along here. So, oops, hold on, bear with me, it's not moving. There we go, okay. So let's talk about healthy ways that we can stop comparing, you guys. One of the biggest things that you can do when you notice that you're getting sidetracked is you need to go back to your why. You have to go back to looking at, why did I start my coaching business? What did I actually want this to do for me? Was it to help myself earn a side income and get groceries for the family? Or did you really like sign up so that you could outdo somebody? Which I doubt any of us did, right? We all joined to help people in some way, shape, or form, right? And also, your why is going to evolve over time. Like, I can tell you my why when I started 2.5 years ago was very generic. It was, I just want to help people be the best person that they can be. I'm a nurse. I love to help people. I love to fix people, right? I like to see their problems fixed. So that was very basic, right? But as time has grown and I've seen just how positive this business is in my life and how I can help people in a positive way versus being in the hospital setting, my why has grown to me wanting to do this full time versus working as a nurse full time. I want this to help me walk away from that nursing career. I want to be able to work as a nurse when I want to work. I want to make my own hours. So this is giving me the avenue to do that. So go back to your why. The next thing is your top 5 in your circle. And I don't know if you guys have ever read, I tried to go back and look in books, and I'm not sure that it was actually said in a particular book. Brittany or Amanda, maybe you remember if it was, but your top 5. So if you look at the top 5 people that you surround yourself with, are they making a positive impact on your life? Are they helping you grow personally, professionally, spiritually? Whatever way that you feel you want to go on your path, are they there to support you? Because if they're not, then they don't deserve all of your time, right? So we might have some friends that you spend a whole weekend with, girls weekend up at the cabin or at the beach, whatever it is, and you kind of come away from that weekend, you're like, oh, I'm so glad that was over. Well, that's not cool. I wouldn't want to spend a whole weekend with people that I didn't feel were going to help move me forward, right? So maybe you're giving those people too much of your time and you're wasting time that could be spent with people that are going to move you forward. So I challenge you to look at those top 5, to make that circle and name those top 5 people that you think are helping you grow in all those ways. And if they're not somebody that's in that top 5, then maybe you need to give them less of your time. Maybe they only get, a day. Maybe they get a shopping outing. Maybe they get brunch. Or maybe maybe they only deserve a text message or a phone call, whatever that may be. But that's really important, I think, that you assess that. The next thing is to ask more, learn, and communicate. So those of you that are in book club with us and we're reading Own Your Everyday, we just talked about this on Saturday, but you have to get a little closer to these people that you're comparing yourself with. Communicate with them instead of assuming that they're doing better than you are at life or whatever it is that you're comparing yourself to them for. Ask them the questions. Hey, how do you do that? Like last week, I think it was, I sent Amanda a message and I was like, how are you getting multiple pictures on your stories? Because I didn't know how to do it. And she messaged me back right away, like, hey, thanks. But could I have sat there and been like, she's so good at technology? Of course I could have, but where would that have gotten me? Nowhere. So reach out to these people, whoever it is, ask them the questions, learn from them and about them, because you might actually just learn that they're not actually doing that good at life. You're at the same level and you actually like each other. You have a lot in common that you can share with each other, right? You might just become best friends. Who knows? So ask more questions, learn from them, and communicate more than you compare. That's huge. Personal development. So while we're on that topic, Own Your Everyday, you guys, has been amazing. It brings in the spiritual aspect of it as well as personal. The last one we read was Get Out of Your Head. That was amazing. I've read The Slight Edge. I feel like that just gives you a lot of good life success tips. Not anything in maybe particular for comparing, but just how to be more successful in your life and do things in a different way. Limitless, you guys, I loved the book Limitless. It's a thin book. It's really easy to read in a fast pace. I highly recommend that one as well. And then of course, Rachel Hollis, you guys were doing the Rise conference, her books are awesome too. Girl Wash Your Face or Girl Stop Apologizing. Both were good. You'll be able to relate to some things in each book and maybe not others in the book, but it's still going to help you learn so that you can help your challengers or your coaches that are in that place in life, right? So maybe I'm not a mom, but like I still read the mom chapter, right? Because maybe it'll give me something to go off of in the future. And the other one that I want to bring up is Like a Mother. That one was good. Brittany and Linda, Ashley and I saw that author actually speak to us at the Dallas Super Weekend when we were down there for the diet retreat. And that book was really good. Again, like, yes, I'm not a mom, but I listened to that book as I was driving to work, home and back every day. And that had a lot of good tips in there. So I would definitely, those are some of my recommendations for sure. And then the last way that I want to bring up, and you guys, I just love that I even feel that I can put this on our team page, because I don't feel that there's a lot of places where I can just talk freely about my faith and like my faith journey, but give it to God. Like, seriously, He is there to listen. So talk to Him, not only about like your problems that you're going through, but also your joys. Like, thank Him for that, because He is there to help you with whatever is before you on that path. And in Him and talking to Him, you're going to find peace. So you might be stuck. You might be stuck in that comparison spiral, because we do get stuck. But when we talk to somebody, whether it's a teammate or it's a friend or a family member, but always just talk to God, because He's always there. He's always there to listen. All right, and just some closing thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys. When we start to compare, we know that it's a negative thing in most aspects, right? Because that's when we're scrolling on our social media or whatever. There's a lot of difficulty for some reason in looking at positive things for us, I find. Whether it's looking within you to find the positive, or like somebody compliments you and you like, how do you say, like, if you say thank you, like you don't know how to respond, right? So we have a lot of difficulty dealing with positivity in our lives. And so I want you to know that you are unique to you, and only you can bring to the table what you have and what you can offer. Nobody else can bring that. So find some joy in that, because you might not think that it's something special, but it really is. Like, we each have something different that we can share with somebody else. Be grateful for what you have and share that with others. Like, share that like crazy, because it's when you actually start to share and look at the good that you're going to lessen your focus on what you don't have. And when we look at what we don't have is when we start to compare, right? We're all at different places in our journey and for different reasons. We're all here as coaches for a different reason and for a different why. But we're here to run with each other, not against each other, right? That's why we should ask each other those questions. Ask how we're doing a challenge group, or ask how we do something on social media, or ask how we invite, like whatever it may be, ask more than we compare, right? Communicate with each other. We're here to do this together. And only because we have like this whole like pineapple theme, and that's kind of like Inspire Beauty's thing, but let's be the women that we fix each other's crowns without telling the world that it was crooked, right? Let's just be there for each other and help each other through, and let's just share our heart of gold, because that's what we have. We have so much to offer you guys, and it's so hard when we get into that comparison and to think that we don't have anything to share. Like I said to Brittany, I'm like, I don't think I have anything to share. Like, I am so stuck right now. But that thing that you're stuck on is actually probably the thing that you need to share to help you get out of it. And so I just thank you guys so much for letting me share this with you guys tonight. I know, like, personally, I have been going through a lot of comparing lately in a lot of different things, not just my coaching business, but to be honest, more so my nursing life. Not feeling that I'm being very helpful during these COVID times right now. And that's kind of where all my comparisons stemmed from, and what started the conversation with Brittany these last 2 weeks about talking to you guys about comparing. So I hope that you guys were able to walk away from this and compare no more, because we each have something special to bring to the table. And if you think that you are comparing, just communicate with us and ask us those questions.
Kristen, that was so awesome. I just have to chime in. I love the top 5 circle. That I read it in a lot of books, so I can't pinpoint the book either.
Yeah.
But I hope you guys, when you pinpoint your top 5, that you go out them and tell them that. I think it was in 100 Days Braver. It asked you to fill that out. Who are the top 5 people in your life? I hope you go out and thank them for being that like light in your life, that supportive thing, because they don't hear it, and it's just something to show them that you really appreciate the friendship. I know I did this, whatever, when we did 100 and we were doing 100 Days Braver, and I sent it to a friend who, she lives in Pennsylvania. I don't get to see her much, and her phone calls once a month when she's driving wherever, they mean the world to me. And so I made sure to tell her that, because that's how our friendship stays together. We both live really busy lives, but when she's driving for an hour to and from wherever she's going for her social work, like, she still picks up the phone and makes sure she's connecting with me. And even though like I have a busier lifestyle right now than her, like I was working, teaching and the brewery and Beachbody, but she would still always connect. And so I made sure I told her why I loved our friendship and why she's in my top 5. So make sure you go tell them that.
I love that, Amanda. Yes. Like, share with those people that you're thankful that they are in your circle. That's huge. Yeah. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to close with that I forgot about. But I read the Jesus Calling book every morning, or I try and do it every morning. Some days I get a little behind. But yesterday was one that I was like, oh, I have to put that in my presentation. But it says at the end to bring your performance anxiety to him and receive in its place unfailing love. Try to stay conscious of his loving presence with you. All that you do, he will direct your steps. So again, just put it back to God. Whatever you're questioning, whatever you're feeling not so good in or less in, just take it to him, because he will guide you. And you might not see that answer right away, but he will show you that you're on the right path in due time. And that's something that has helped me just stay the course. Just stay the course. Just reading through.
So good, Kristen. You've got so many, like, everybody's fist bumping throughout this whole call. So you've got a lot to go back and like read through. Like,
yeah.
Yes. It's so good. I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing the commentary and how this is speaking to people tonight. Guys, if you have any questions at this point for Kristen, and it can be comparison related, and it could totally just be related to any question you have for her business wise, you can drop that in the chat too right now, and she can keep her eyes peeled for that. I love how you didn't just focus too on the fact that comparison is always negative, but that there are healthy ways to compare and to increase your own motivation and drive just based on your own performance. Like even Leah was talking about her Lift 4 tracker and just how we can compare our fit journeys from before to now. You can compare your business from before to now. So good.
Mm-hmm. I think too is Ashley and I were chatting tonight about a potential customer, but it kind of came back to me again, another positive way that I didn't share with you guys, but obviously your progress pictures, like I can take those before and afters, right? I know right now I'm personally like, oh God, I don't want to take this before and after for 10 rounds because it's been kind of a doozy of a couple of weeks here, but go back and look at something that's going to inspire you. Like I went back and looked at my 80-day obsession results and I was like, dang, like that was a good 80 days. Like I was on point. What did I do during that point then? What did I do in those 80 days? And how can I like get that mindset back? Right? So that's why we take before. Like those are huge. So use those.
So good. Leah looks like she has a question here, Kristen. She says, when I feel myself comparing, I get negative really quick and withdraw, so I have to fight that tendency. How do you fight your tendency with withdrawing?
You know, I have probably 2 or 3 people that I know I can talk to and be completely honest with it. And thankfully last week, and sometimes I don't even know, Leah, that I'm like spiraling down that comparison. It took Brittany to reach out to me last week because we didn't have a one-on-one set up, and I had meant to message her, but my work schedule's been crazy. And so she's like, oh, we doing a one-on-one? I was like, yes, I'm at work, but like, let's do this time. And she's like, okay, like I sense you're off. And I was like, I am, like, and it wasn't until somebody asked me that I was like, oh yeah, because I am very good at like just powering through. Like, that's just how I've always been. Like, I'm strong, I can get through this, I'm not going to show my weakness. But that, you guys, is really, like, that makes me feel more isolated when I pretend to be those things. So I've really tried to, I mean, I read as much personal development on this that I can, and I feel like I grow a little bit more with each book that I read and hearing a little bit of a different scenario of what comparison is and different ways to get out of it. But for me, it's just having those, not even like that top 5, but it's almost like a different top 5. Like, I have a top 5 that, you know, I spend a lot of my time with, and I know that they move me forward. And then there's like another 5 people that I feel like I just connect with on a different level that I know I can reach out to them too. So that's what I do. And I know that they're there for me and I'm there for them, vice versa. So like, it doesn't matter. We just know that, like, hey, she needs to talk for an hour. Like, we're going to listen. So that's one thing. And it's hard. I've never been somebody that likes to talk about my feelings. I've done counseling in the past, like when I was going through my divorce and stuff, and I realized how good it is, just for like anything, like just to go and like get out of our head, right? Just to talk it out loud with somebody. So really getting somebody, knowing somebody that you're comfortable with, that you can talk to them about your feelings, or just let it out. Not that they need to be your counselor, but just to listen.
I love
you know.
Our team is cheap therapy.
Right.
Right. I've got another question here. It says, how do you cope with being on the front lines during all of this? My husband is a police officer, and I'm struggling big time with coping that if he gets this, I might lose him to this. So talk about being on the front line and coaching and all the things.
Yeah. So that's kind of a hard question. Maybe Ashley would want to ring in on this one a little bit. That's actually where my comparison started to come in this week, in these last 2 weeks, because I'm an ER nurse at heart, but you guys, I just left the ER to get away from all the craziness. But I left it to get away from a different kind of crazy. This kind of craziness that's going on, I actually, like, it's kind of like my love language. Like, that's how I see that I'm helping people, that I'm fixing people, like, in the moment. So right now, that was what actually got my spiral of comparison going, because I was like, okay, I'm not even doing my new GI job. I'm in a different place, like answering phone calls. And I went down to the ER to cross train, but we haven't surged, and that's the only way I'm going to get down there to help people. And so now I'm stuck. Well, I shouldn't say stuck here, but I'm trying to figure out like where that path is leading me. Am I staying in Wisconsin? Do I move somewhere else? Now I have a dog, so I can't really leave. But my heart was really out in New York City with Ashley. Like, that's where my heart will continue to be. Knowing that some of my coworkers have gotten COVID from out there, and I'm in touch with them and praying for them, and just knowing what they're going through and what Ashley's going through. So that has been really hard for me. But I think with being on the front line and knowing, having been in that position, it's hard for people that aren't, because it's just something in our hearts. That's what we do. We know that we're putting ourselves in danger most of the time, right? And that's hard if you're not in that mindset, like if that's not what you're used to or known for. So I don't know, like, it's like a fireman, like they run into burning buildings, like that's crazy, right? But that's what they do. Like ER nurses, police officers, like they know that going into it, right? And as hard as it is to like be on the other side of that and know that, yeah, they might not come home, like that, I can't even imagine. Like, and that's always who I envision myself finding though, because I know like they know the medical side of things, and they know that like that's what we are meant to do, that's what we're here for. But I couldn't imagine like having that other person, you know, and worrying about them either. So I think it's just, again, it's talking about it and letting them know what your worry is so that it's out in the open and that it's not like something that is just weighing on your heart, like literally. You know, as long as they know that you have that worry and maybe there's something that they need to do to like help you not worry. I don't know, whether it's a phone call or a text or something that is hard. So I don't have an answer for you.
I think that was awesome. I mean, I think it's, you said it, you hit the nail on the head, communication too. Like, I love that, number one, and I wish maybe iPhone user, you could tell us who you are because I only see iPhone and I feel so terrible right now. I'm just struggling to like, I want to put the name in the face right now with the question. But I think number one, you saying this in this forum is powerful because you got it off your chest. This might, I don't know if this is the first time you've gotten it off your chest, but I think that's, oh, hey, Nicole, you're okay. I think it's powerful, Nicole, to get that kind of stuff off your chest. And I think it's also powerful to have that hard conversation with your spouse and talk through the challenging thing. And like Kristen said, that way maybe you guys can come up with some sort of strategy of how he can be cognizant of keeping you, you know, less worrisome on the day-to-day with what's going on in the front line, you know. So good though. Any other questions, guys? Going once, going twice, drop them in the chat. And I will, as I'm waiting to see if there's any last question, I will tell you guys that, you know, oftentimes, like I said it on the team page and I'll say it all over the place and keep reminding you of this, that this pandemic, this virus has the potential to kill your mindset and your heart set before it will ever kill you physically. And so being really hyper aware, if you're ingesting things from the media or the news or your family that is causing you fear, panic, doubt, worry, you have to mute it, right? And I have that in my own, you know, family and circles and things like that, and I have to be hyper aware of it. So just keep that in mind too. When you start to find yourself going down that that rabbit hole of fear in this, asking yourself if it's coming from like a place of what you're ingesting too and the people you're around yourself with. So many, and that's the thing, you guys, you're all coming into the chat saying that you can relate. So these are the kinds of things you can forge friendships over. You don't have to have Brittany create a message thread for you to talk to your teammates. You can talk, you know, in each other's inbox. Yes, praying for everybody and your peace of mind and all this. That's really what we need. Yeah. Kristen, you want to wrap it up? Any last thoughts before we take our picture?
No, I think it's just communicate. Like that is huge, you guys. And I can't even, like, it took me a long time, like it took me a long time to figure that out and to not hold everything in. And I feel like almost holding it in made me feel more isolated. Like it just put me further down in that hole than I ever felt before. And so really just finding somebody that you can talk to, whoever that person is going to be such a blessing to help you through those times.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop on the record.